best universities in Colombia. In terms of incentives for foreign direct investment into Colombia, these are at a national level more than a local level, the free trade zone regime. A company set up in a free trade zone today, in a permanent free trade zone, which I'll show you where we stand in Bogota, a company drops its income tax from a regular 33 to 34% corporate down to 15. It's actually that 34 is a combination of 25 plus 8, 25 plus 9. It depends on the different tax reform created last year. But what it does is basically give you preferential income tax if you're set up in a free trade zone. Free trade zones were set up about 25, 30 years ago to increase the import-export business, but now are more a employment generation tool more than anything else. And in fact, many of the free trade zones are now moving from being logistics and manufacturing exclusively to including services, import and export. So we have shared services, BPO, nearshoring services, universities within free trade zones. You also have duty-free importation and machinery and raw materials. You can purchase raw materials from Colombia, capital goods and services with no value-added tax. You can sell into the Colombian market, unlike other free trade zones in Latin America, which are basically maquila. You import, transform, and then have to ship out. We can have that combined with the domestic market. As long as you pay the domestic taxes, you can service the Colombian market as well. And then there is the possibility, given some specific requirements in terms of job creation and direct investment, to have a single company free trade zone. That's possible too in Colombia. And it's the same for a foreign company as well as a domestic company. One of the benefits and the reasons why Colombia has increased its placement in terms of a better place to do business in the world is that domestic investors and foreign investors have the same rights and obligations. This is a quick view of where we have our five free trade zones, permanent free trade zones in Bogota. Our oldest one, 25 years ago, Zona Franca de Bogota, initially logistics and manufacturing, but now a lot of shared service centers, BPO, nearshoring, outsourcing companies are setting up shop there. It's about 50 minutes away from the airport. Intexona and Zona Franca Metropolitana on the west, that one's more on the southwestern side near the airport. Intexona and Zona Franca Metropolitana on the western side of Bogota, towards our connectivity with Medellin in the north. Zona Franca de Occidente, about 30 minutes away from the airport towards the south. A lot of manufacturing, logistics, most of the manufacturing. And then Zona Franca de Tocancipá, the only one towards the north of Bogota, which connects to Boyacá and other northern departments or states of Colombia, is the only one that has the possibility of high to medium impact environmental management. So you can have oil and gas services companies, chemical companies. We have, for example, a Bogota beer company. It's our largest small microbrewery, just recently purchased by the Bev Group, which is probably the world's largest beer manufacturer in the world. Is their facility, which is less than a year old, in Zona Franca de Tocancipá. Also, we've been ranked 5th city in motion in Latin America by the IESE Business School in Navarra, Spain. It's a ranking in the categories that you see there. Ranked 5th after Santiago, Buenos Aires, Monterrey, and Mexico City in terms of being a smart city. And this is interesting because if you compare the next up-and-coming ones in Colombia, you have Medellin 9th and you have Cali in 11th spot. So it places very well in terms of being a Latin American top-ranking city as a smart city today. Finally, last but not least, investment opportunities. And here what I do is a breakdown of how I manage my teams and the specific sectors of the economy that we proactively go out into the world. These are mostly what we try and bring into Bogota after we've done a strategic planning session with the city in terms of analyzing where the demand for investment capital is going into Latin America and what is the value-add proposition of Bogota. You mix those two, add a little a political analysis there, and I've also checked these are the specific, this is a short list of investment segments that we go after. So anything in IT services, BPO and shared services, creative industries, and business and consulting, we believe that there's a strong proposition for Bogota. I have another team in the services area that manages extractive services, mostly services for the oil and gas industry. which today is still a very important tractor for investment into Bogota, and you'd be surprised because we are not an oil and gas city. That includes clean technologies and environmental services. Then I have another team that manages light manufacturing, automotive and transportation, which includes all the electric and hybrid manufacturing potential for vehicles for our mass public transportation systems, both in buses and taxis. Construction materials, given the housing potential, we still have a deficit in terms of housing for the population of Colombia. That's brought a huge opportunity for construction materials companies. And then processed foods. This is probably the most sophisticated market in the Northern Cone of South America, and certainly in Colombia, in terms of the new nutraceuticals, supplemental foods, the new products, packaging for new products. So in terms of processed foods, there's a good important opportunity there. Life science and biotechnology, given the biodiversity of Colombia being, depending who you ask, number 2, number 3 in the world in terms of biodiversity, maybe after Ecuador and Brazil by square kilometer, it makes a lot of sense for a company in medical devices, pharmaceuticals, cosmetics, and especially processed foods to be in Bogota, not only because of the size of the market that we have here as a city and the country, but also the possibility of including natural ingredients, new developments into these new products, and hopefully even feed those out into the world. Especially processed foods and cosmetics, we see that in the short midterm. Pharmaceutical will take a lot more time as we build a stronger R&D community, I would suppose, within the pharmaceutical, but we're getting there. And last but not least, infrastructure and city projects. One of the things that Investment Promotion Agency does, not structure projects, but simply help promote projects that the city has decided are key for our development. And you probably imagine the first line of the Metro of Bogota is substantially important in that sense, in that respect. Gracias.